The people who want to hear the truth, not just when it's easy, but when it's hard. Not just about Democrats, but about our own side in the Republican Party. Many of whom have been disaffected from the Republican Party. I'm one of the people who has been disaffected from the Republican Party. Those events, half the people have never been to a caucus before. And so I think we're on track to deliver a major surprise on January 15th. We're set exactly where we want to be heading into that date, which is, thankfully to the mainstream print media narratives and otherwise, the expectations. And I'm not going anywhere. To the contrary, we're going the distance. And I think it's going to be somebody with fresh legs that ultimately wins this race. So I think we're in about the third inning of this race. That's where we stand right now. One last question.
On stage tonight.
What's that?
You didn't go after Ronna McDaniel on stage tonight. Was that on purpose?
I did give her an honorary mention, where I'm pretty sure I said that I made a reference to the last debate, and I stand by it, that she should resign as the failed chairwoman of the RNC. But there are also other important issues that needed to be addressed, and so I believed addressing the questions that were asked. I do think that I raised that in the context of a particular candidate on the stage who on one hand will criticize identity politics, yet because I criticized Ronna McDaniel and her last time around, somehow said that I had a gender problem or a woman problem. And I think that that's another example of rank hypocrisy in the Republican Party. We're not the party of identity politics. Having two X chromosomes does not immunize you from criticism. And I think the mainstream media has treated Nikki Haley with kid gloves for exactly the reason that she plays that card, just like Kamala Harris does. But I don't think that we should have anybody who's immune from scrutiny and debate. If you want to sit across the table from Xi Jinping, we're not playing with kid gloves. I'm certainly not. I think a lot of our voters in this country are hungry for somebody who is going to take the fight on behalf of this country against the deep state. And I think I said it on the stage, I'll say it again right now. If you want somebody who's going to speak truth to power in the deep state, start with somebody who can speak the hard truth to you. And there's a reason why I'm the only candidate on that stage who can state many of the hard truths that I did tonight. And I think that's what's going to lead us to success. Thank you, guys. We're going to go rock and roll. Thank you very much. Thank you.